Hello, podcast listeners. We know podcasts are a great way to catch up on a program that you may have missed on KSJE, and it's provided as a free service of this radio station. But you know, KSJE is now listener-supported, and so while you enjoy this podcast, we hope that you'll also take some time to join KSJE. Become a member today. It's quite easy to do. Just go to our website at ksje.com/support and pick the level of support that best matches your budget. Thanks again for listening. Here's your podcast. 11 minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Wednesday morning, the 23rd day of July, 2025. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Michlin. Thanks for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM over the air right here in San Juan County, New Mexico. In Durango, Colorado, we broadcast at 103.3 FM. And if you're listening to my voice anywhere else on the planet, you've probably gone to our website to do that, streaming all the time from ksje.com, or maybe you're listening through the new KSJE app. Welcome also to our viewers today who are joining us. The video of this program streaming out live to the KSJE Facebook page and also to our YouTube channel. So welcome everyone from however you are watching and listening this morning, because coming up, we are going to be talking about one of my favorite events of the year, Dining with the Dead, to benefit the Rio del Sol Kiwanis Club. It's a local history lesson, a great meal, and much, much more. We'll tell you all about it and meet some of the folks who are taking part in Dining with the Dead this year. Stay tuned for that coming up in the next few moments right here on KSJE. And then, of course, we will go to, let's see, I think Mick Hess is going to be here later, Roving with the Arts. Here we go. There's Mick. He'll be here next hour, Roving with the Arts, our weekday classical music program this morning, followed by, of course, right on Four Corners, our local and regional author program, hosted by Delcherie Gladden. This week, Delcherie is speaking with author J.M. Mitchell about his book called Migrations of Butterflies and Lies. That discussion today at 10:30 on KSJE. Don't forget, you can connect with us on Instagram, on Blue Sky, and X, in addition to Facebook and YouTube. And if you're a podcast listener, I remind you that KSJE publishes podcasts every day. You can subscribe for free at places where you're already listening to podcasts and maybe discover a new local program that you may have missed recently. And there it is, the new KSJE app. It's available at the App Store and Google Play. You can put it on your mobile device and stay connected wherever you may happen to be, and you can listen live right through the app to KSJE. Outside our studios here at San Juan College, it's a sunny Wednesday morning, 70 degrees at the moment. We're expecting a partly sunny day today, a bit cooler than we have seen, 85 for a high in Farmington. Partly cloudy tonight, 65 for a low. It'll be 86 and partly sunny tomorrow. Sunshine 89 on Friday and sunshine and 89 degrees on Saturday, maybe low 90s for Sunday and Monday, with overnight lows, as you can see, in the upper 60s. I'll be back with my guest to talk Dining with the Dead right after this on KSJE. KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, whose vision is to deliver world-class care, making life better for the communities they are privileged to serve. Offering a comprehensive range of inpatient, outpatient, and emergency care services so residents can live life better here. San Juan Regional Medical Center, community-owned and operated, here for you. Back in Studio A this morning with my guest, as I mentioned, to talk with us a little bit about Dining with the Dead, the annual event to benefit Rio del Sol Kiwanis. I have in Studio A with me, Jill McQueary is here from the Rio del Sol Kiwanis Club. Good morning. Great to have you back.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming in.
Oh, thanks for having us.
You bet, you bet. Also joining us in the studio is Shelley Diede, who is here this morning, and Shelley is in the Dining with the Dead again this year. You've done this a couple of times,
yes,
at least I know, and we'll talk about your character in just a moment, too, who has quite the story. to visit with. And also joining us here in the studio, no stranger to radio or KSJE, Mr. Ron Price.
Hey, Scott, good to be back with you, sir.
Nice to see you here. Thank you for coming in, because you are also a character.
Well, I'm a character.
Sure. Let me finish my sentence. In Dining with the Dead and in real life. But
Thank you.
It's great to have you all here this morning as well. And so, Jill, let me start with you a little bit about the Dining with the Dead event, because, again, it raises money for the Rio del Sol Kiwanis Club. And tell me about the events that the club does throughout the years, because it really is active throughout the year.
Oh, it certainly is. Well, our fundraisers are the pancake breakfast that we have on Father's Day weekend.
Right.
And then we do the duck race, the Riverfest duck race.
Yeah.
And then we do the Scholastic books, and we sell tickets to the Outback Steakhouse to pay for the books.
Mm-hmm.
So those are some of the ones. And then Forks and Quirks, which this year we had the Derby theme. That was fun.
Right.
Yeah. So all of those help us to get money for the Clothes for Kids.
That's one of the major things that the club does, right? And that's in the fall.
Correct. We do, in the fall, we do that, and we do the Kiwanis Shoes for Kids and Coats for Kids.
Mm-hmm.
So they all take money, and then the African Library books is where we send a library of 1,000 books to Africa.
Nice. Very good. And so fundraisers like Dining with the Dead are really important for the club to
Yes.
give you the money that you need to do all these things throughout the rest of the year.
Yes.
And
Very
so,
important.
Right. And so tickets are on sale now,
They are.
and they always sell out.
We have for our first 12 years, and so we're hoping this year again we will. Which
Right.
They're going really well. So if anybody wants tickets, they're at Howard's Cleaners and Artifacts 302, and then on our website.
Right. And these are, again, and forgive me, I forget the price because I always get in free because I'm part of the show.
There you are.
So-
That's right, because that's the important part of it.
Well,
they're $30.
$30, and that
for
gets you-
dinner, for dinner, and then the tour through the cemetery.
Right. And so that's what you're getting, and it's an evening tour. It's on September 6th. We should mention too.
That's correct.
Is the date, and so that is coming up, and folks are on a guided tour through the cemetery, and then you stop by the grave sites or locations where these characters, Ron Price not included, sometimes included, are standing and presenting their stories about their
Correct.
pioneer person.
Right. And the pioneers that we portray, the majority of them are buried at Green Lawn Cemetery, but some visit from other cemeteries,
Right.
such as Jimmy Jarvis.
My
the one that
character
you're
this year,
doing.
right, is going to be doing that too. Yeah, Jimmy Jarvis was a resident of Aztec, and so he's not buried at Green Lawn, but he will be visiting that night for a special appearance. It sounds like to me.
That's right.
So-
For one night only.
One night only. There you go. And we'll talk more about him in just a bit. But it's a great event, and I know you put in a lot of work. I know you have a small group of other volunteers that help you with some of these things, but there's a lot of moving parts in trying to corral all these people.
And I've been doing all the first part with
Yeah.
it's a committee that you were just talking about, where we decide who we're going to portray, and then I call the actors. I'm like, hey, will you portray this part? And then Nikki Taylor will be running the event.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good. And I think you have gotten quite the lesson on local history, too, since your involvement with this project. I mean, you seem to, just in our conversations before we came on the air this morning, people were asking about the relationships here and there. And from doing this all this time, 12 years, you've kind of learned a bit more about the community.
And Scott, when I think that I've learned quite a bit, and then as you were saying, I'm listening to Shelley and Ron, I'm like, I didn't know that.
Well.
So, but I didn't even know that I was interested in our local history. And then when we started this program in 2013, I thought, this is just so interesting. And the people here loved it.
Right.
Because they love hearing these stories.
Yeah.
So, but every year I learn more.
Right.
And will I ever be really knowledgeable? No, I mean, some of the huge historians here, they know so much, and you're one of those historians.
Well, I don't know about that, but it's always fascinating to me to hear the stories and then to learn more about the interactions between these pioneer families who were here. And from year to year, you'll come and you'll hear about this family, and then next year they'll talk about how this family interacted with this family, and then maybe joined by marriage or what have you, and now it becomes this other generation of new family, and it's just fascinating to me.
It is, and that'll happen again this year too.
Yeah.
Whereas they go through to meet the pioneers, they're going to hear one story and then realize it's kind of tied into another story.
Right.
So
Right.
So then they'll be going, oh wow, I didn't know that.
Exactly. And the other part of the Dining with the Dead that fascinates me too is that the period in San Juan County history when this was pretty wild, woolly West activities here, and a lot of folks I think may not even realize that we may enjoy those Western movies and things like that and not realize that San Juan County was a pretty shoot 'em up place back in the day.
Yes, it was.
And there's a lot of stories about that.
Right, and when we were still part of the Northwest New Mexico Territory.
Right.
Before we were even a state.
Exactly.
So, and it amazes me why people would come from the east all the way out here. Of course, a lot of them came for health, but a lot of them just had, when they wanted to travel, they wanted to come to the West.
Right.
And they picked Farmington.
Sure. Well, again, some of the things we enjoy today, they enjoyed back then too. The amount of water that we had here and wide open spaces, and this area was open for settlement and things like that. And so it was a pretty good deal, I think, if you were looking for a place to just spread out and farm and maybe start a new life, because maybe things weren't so good back east where you're coming from.
That is true.
You never know.
We don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go to our other guests and hear a bit about their stories this morning. Shelley Diede is here, as I mentioned. And Shelley, your character this year has a really fascinating story. You are playing Mary Eldridge.
Yes.
And she spent some time in the Midwest. And just talk to me a little bit about her character and what you've learned about her.
Well, I think Mary Eldridge was an incredibly interesting woman. And I feel that her story really begins in about 1887 when she was left a widow with 2 children. And so to make a living, she went into teaching. And she was actually in South Dakota on the Pine River Reservation teaching at a boarding school for the Lakota Indians. And that was the time that the horrible massacre known as Wounded Knee took place. She was right there. She was horrified, number one, by the massacre. Hundreds of Lakota women and children and families were killed. And she wasn't only horrified by that, but then she became afraid for her life.
Right.
Also.
Right.
So she and another friend she was teaching with, Mary Haskell, they still wanted to teach and work with the Native Americans. To Mary Eldridge, that was always her calling. And they studied and learned about the Navajo, who were peaceful and a more agrarian culture, and they decided to come to New Mexico. And they ended up in the area that was then called Jewett. It is now the water flow area, right here in San Juan County. She initially, even though she had a background in teaching and in nursing, she wanted to spread the word. She wanted to talk about her Savior, Jesus Christ, and she learned very early that trying to explain that Jesus loves you to a small child with a swollen belly from hunger who is in pain just doesn't go very far. So her mission then became more that instead of just teaching and talking about the Word, it would involve actually living the Word. And she devoted the rest of her life to her nursing, to caring for these people. She loved these Navajo people with all her heart. And she actually got herself a little burro so that she could ride through the reservation caring for people who really did need her. She nursed them, she helped feed, she helped bring medication in to the reservation. And she was always taken with the fact that they were quite nomadic at the time. They had to look for places to graze sheep. And she felt that if they had any kind of irrigation and could farm, then they could form their communities and stay in one place. Mm-hmm. She was actually the first woman in this area to be responsible for a large irrigation project on the Navajo reservation.
Lots of parts to her life, it sounds like to
Yes.
me, right? And lots of maybe things that she didn't start out doing
Absolutely.
that she learned how to do because of circumstance.
Yes.
So interesting. Go ahead.
And she ended up helping to found a hospital
Right.
and a missionary school, along with all of the other work that she did.
Here.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
And she ended up, yes, out of water flow closer into this area, into the Aztec area, actually.
Right. And again, and there were a lot of firsts, I think, too, because at that time when she was here, there wasn't a lot of other development or residential or even other citizens that were here. She was here shortly after this area was opened up for settlement, if
Yes,
I'm
she
remembering
was.
correctly.
She
Yes?
was here in the very late 1800s into
Yeah.
the early 1900s.
Right. So no Walmart, no McDonald's,
No.
nothing. She was here. So
No, none of that.
right. A blank slate, if you will,
Yes.
almost. So very interesting. Well, and the reason that you keep coming back to do this, I mean, what do you find? What do you find that fulfills you when you put together these characters, I guess, and present them?
I find the history of this area is fascinating. And I also think, we talk about not forgetting our history because it affects the culture we are today. I think this area has a spirit of independence and individualism and do-it-yourself that stems from the people that initially founded this area.
Right. I can see that too. And so that's exciting. And to be able to share those stories is really fascinating. And one of the things I enjoy too is just watching the groups that come and listen. And if there's little children in there, the eyes get really big and
Yes.
they're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that this happened in here where I live and play and go to school and all those different things. So it's a fascinating event and I always enjoy it. So thank you for being here and sharing the story of Mary Eldridge. We'll find out more about her at the event, I know, because there's some things you didn't tell us
Yes.
that are interesting too about her. And let me turn to Mr. Ron Price, who is back as another character. He always portrays really interesting folks from Farmington's past. And this year is no exception, Ron Price, because you are Wesley Shaver. Yes.
am.
Yes.
I am.
And so tell us his story. What's his story?
Wesley
Little bit of it.
Shaver was born in 1852. Forgive me, I don't recall where. I wasn't told where, but I do know I moved to Farmington in the 1890s with my wife Mary and son Harold. We'd been living in Colorado and heard about this booming new town that was just exploding. And since I was a contractor and builder, I figured I could find some pretty good work and income in Farmington, and that turned out to be the case.
Interesting. So he was a builder, and what types of things did he build?
I built my own house to begin with.
Okay.
It was a basic farmhouse with gingerbread trim and stained glass windows. Pretty eye-catching, I got to tell you. And I demonstrated my building skills. I put ads in the paper and started getting some work. In fact, I built the hospital for my friend Mary here.
Nice.
And then I built a house for her future son-in-law. Built some columns for the new Masonic Lodge. Did some work for Alf Graves, who's been a character in past years, out at Cedar Hill. Built a store and a post office, and worked on the bridge that he put together, that he paid for and built over the San Juan River, and that San Juanimus River.
Okay.
What river was it, Jill?
We have three.
We have three.
You know,
One.
but you
Pick
know,
one.
probably. Right.
But anyway, yeah, that bridge was huge because it opened up Durango to San Juan County, and obviously San Juan County to Durango and parts north. And so Wesley was a talented man, and it seemed, from what I can read and understand, he was a good man.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Go ahead, Jill.
That what made it so interesting about him, the insurance policy.
He was a member of Woodmen of the World, and as people will see my tombstone, it was at the time, and maybe still is, the tallest of any at Green Lawn Cemetery.
Interesting.
Once you see a Woodman of the World tombstone, you're not quickly going to forget it.
Wow. Okay. See? Very cool. And Ron, this is just one more character into the list of characters that you have portrayed over the years. Do you have a favorite that you can recall? Because you've been doing this almost as long as I have, if I remember correctly.
Not quite as long. I think you got a year or two on me at least.
Yeah, but not much.
I was a guide the first year, Jill.
Yeah.
twisted my arm to get involved.
Right.
That's what Shelley started off as.
So I'm trying to think. I know who it was, but I can't remember his name. Who's the one I played with Di? I was her husband. Who was that? We owned much of downtown Farmington.
Right. Yes.
And
You were the
we
couple
got
that had a
ugly
divorce. Right.
I gave her the property, as I was from New York, I gave her the property north of Maine, and I kept the property south of Maine. And she was so upset by that divorce that she said she was never going to have any of her streets line up with any of my streets. That's why the streets on the west end of Farmington don't line up with each other.
Yeah,
So,
thanks
as you
for that-
probably
thanks for
never
that.
heard, cities know no fury like a woman scorned.
I've read that
That
somewhere.
was a fun character. Di and I had such a good time playing that. But they've all been interesting in their own way. And Scott, again, I know you played Mr. Arrington one year. At least I
John
believe you
Arrington,
did.
yes, exactly.
We drive on Arrington Street. Well, who was Arrington? You know, because you
Right.
played him. I played Frank Allen. I know why Allen Avenue and Locke Street and some of these
Well.
other streets that, we drive on them. Well, where'd they get their names? Who were those people?
Sure.
Like Shelley, I think it's intriguing to know the history and know the background of where we live.
Exactly, very true, and all those streets, the Locks and the Allens and Allen Theaters and all the stories, and finding out how these families came here and how their businesses thrived and sometimes didn't, and what happened, and some of those things as well. So it is really fascinating, and a lot of it has to do too with Farmington's agricultural history as well, because a lot of folks here were farmers, and a lot of people were maybe the first folks to plant a certain crop or what have you, and Farmington was well known back in those days for its produce and farms and things along that line. So it really is fascinating. And so you keep coming back, Ron Price, I assume, because you enjoy doing this and learning a little bit and just being a different character for a night in September?
Scott, you and I have very fond memories of Joyce Donald, and we remember that it was said nobody could ever say no to Joyce Donald.
True.
I think Jill McQueary is Joyce
She's
Jr.
at that level. I think you're
It's
right.
hard to say. It's hard to say no to Jill McQuarrie if she asks you to do something. No,
Well,
I'm
thank
always.
you.
I'm thrilled that she asks, and it is. It's a fun event. I enjoy it, and again, the people really. It sells out every year, 2 or 3 weeks in advance. We must be doing something right.
Exactly. Well,
Every year, people come back again, but always new people as well, and I think it does. I think it adds to the fabric of this community.
I agree, Jill.
And our people that are actors are not professional actors. They just do a fantastic job. And people get so caught up in your story, and you probably have had people ask you, well, then what did you do then? And you're like,
Right.
you're not that real person.
Yeah, right.
It's not in the script. I don't know what I did.
Right. It's true.
But I've had
They do.
actors tell me that somebody in the audience wants to know what happened, what they did next.
Very true.
But that they were just so caught up in the story, and I love it.
Yeah, no, it's great. It really is great, and a lot of folks I think really get into it, and a lot of the folks that come and visit really enjoy hearing those different stories. Again, we just have a few minutes remaining this morning. Dining with the Dead, it's coming up again, September 6th. Rain or shine, it'll be at Green Lawn Cemetery, and tickets are on sale now, $30. And again, you can get them at Howard's Cleaners or Artifacts 302. Ron has something to add.
And Scott, you said earlier it benefits the Rio del Sol Kiwanis Club. That's not totally accurate. It benefits kids in this area
Good point.
who otherwise would not have clothes or shoes. So that's
Yeah.
just another element of it. It's entertaining, it's enriching. It also benefits a whole lot of people in this community.
True. And your money goes for a good cause. That's true.
Absolutely.
And so that's important as well with the work that the Rio del Sol Kiwanis Club does in the community for those kids. You're absolutely right. We're showing you on the screen right now some of the other performers who will be performing at Dining with the Dead this year. And there's a whole list. Boy, look at those characters. Whole list of folks who will be there as well, with names, too, that we might recognize as well, like, I don't know, Ike Stockton, who is a well-known name. And he's one of the only characters that comes back year after year because he's such a character.
And last year, he said he would like for one of his gang members to be with him this year.
Yes.
And so Bert Wilkerson is with him this year, and they both had reward money out on their heads.
Right.
And I decided he wanted to turn Bert in for that reward money. So that's Interesting story.
Careful about your friends, I guess, right? Isn't that
There you are.
the moral of that story, I think, too? But really fascinating, and talks a lot about, Farmington's past and San Juan County's past as well. Again, Jimmy Jarvis, who I will be portraying, and excited to be back again this year, who was a fixture, I think, in Aztec for a number of years. The story about him was that he lived in 3 different centuries, which really isn't true, but it's a good story to share and to pass along. So, why not? He was old, so there's that. But a lot of fun to learn about these different individuals and how they contributed to the development of San Juan County and what we know and love today.
People are interested. Part of the hotel is still there.
The Jarvis Hotel in Aztec, that's right.
Yeah, right across the street from the San Juan County Historical Society.
Right.
Yeah.
So very true. So a lot, and some of these buildings are still there. I don't know. Ron, do we know of any buildings that your character built are still around? Maybe
I know
not.
the flood took care of some of them, but I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Gotcha. Because he was more of a carpenter with wood or stone or bricks.
No, mostly wood. I would think some bricks. But,
Okay.
yeah.
Because I know there were some brickyards here too back in the day, and a lot of buildings were built out of wood. Then we had some fires downtown, and they said, "Well, we better change what we do." So there's that as well. One more minute, Jill. McQueary, of course. What do you want to add?
John Carson,
Yeah.
another interesting one.
Okay.
He actually lived out on the South Side River Road.
Yep.
He was our first elected sheriff, and the house that he lived in had a hanging tree, and it is torn down now, but.
Interesting, right?
It was.
So he sounds like he was a no-nonsense sheriff.
Right.
If you're,
and Claudine Riddle used to own that home.
right?
So.
Gotcha. Lots of history there, too, for sure. So wonderful. Thank you, Jill. Well, thank you all for coming in. Again, tickets are available right now. Again, the website, riodelsolcajuanes.com, or Howard's Cleaners or Artifacts 302, because this will sell out. I think
Yes.
we can probably
Should-
guarantee
it should.
that
I'm
it will sell out,
anticipating it.
because the numbers are limited. You can't. It's limited to the number of people that you can
And it's
bring
a
through.
unique event. Jill picked this up way down in southern Arizona, but I don't know of any place around here that's doing something similar. Should be, but
Right. Well,
Come
that's
check
true.
it out.
It is very unique. Dining with the Dead, again, it is coming up again for the 12th year. Is that possible?
Correct. I know.
Oh my goodness. Wow. None of us are that old, but okay, if you say so. The 12th year coming up on September 6th here at Green Lawn Cemetery. Tickets available right now. Thank you all very much for coming in and telling your stories about your characters.
Thank you.
Good to see you all.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. My guest this morning here with me on KSJE Farmington. Did you enjoy that podcast? We hope that you did. And if you did, share it with your friends. And if you really want to keep podcasts like this coming, please support KSJE. You can do it easily online at ksje.com.